Hello, everyone. Ryan here.
And Anthony.
We are today talking about the 2023 movie Air, directed by Ben Affleck. So it's basically how Nike, the company, scored Michael Jordan. So let's get into it. Well, to start with, let's go. Ben Affleck as a director. How do you find him? I'm a fan. I think he's oh think he's okay. He's done better work. Like The Town is probably his
The
best.
Town is a standout movie
Yep,
of
that's
Ben Affleck. For me, it's the
yep,
one where I thought, right, there is something actually has some very good talent.
yeah.
Uh, this one was all right. It's good. It didn't wow me, but it's good.
I'm going to talk about a few things I
Go for it.
found were a bit clunky. There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of the conversational pieces. There's two primarily. There's one where Sonny's talking to George in the bar, and they're basically Sonny's in the background, George is in the foreground. When one of them's talking, the other one goes to blur. When the other one's talking, the other one goes to blur. Having seen, deep focus, like the deep focus done so well in other movies, I just don't understand why he didn't do that. Why didn't he utilize that kind of that technology? He's a very good director. Why didn't he use that? That's just a little bit of a
Yeah, I
nitpick,
don't
I
know.
suppose.
Yeah, the filmography of the movie I didn't think was amazing. I feel that they really focused more on making it feel and look like the 80s, but the real 80s, not the nostalgic
Yep,
80s, like how everything was kind of crappy, to be honest, and
yep,
now really looks old and out of style.
yep. Did
Yeah.
you find that some of them, it almost seemed like it was artificial? It was obviously things were created for the film, like license plates, toys, and that kind of stuff.
Mm,
It looked too brand new when you saw stuff. It was all brand new. It was obviously manufactured for the film. There was no wear and tear in anything. I
true.
found, I found it was just, if I'm going to have to be nitpicky about things, I just found that it was a little bit too manufactured.
Right. It didn't strike me as too manufactured during the film, but I see where you're coming from.
Um, Now this is another question I have. Did you notice the when we're doing aerial shots of Converse and Adidas, were they AI generated imagery? Did you pick up on that at all?
No, I did not actually.
So when you were doing the aerial shots of all the buildings and stuff like that, I almost felt, and there was one where it was panning into when I think it was at the, I don't think it was, I think it might have been the Converse meeting. The camera's panning down to obviously the Jordans are arriving in the car, and then it just
Mm,
cuts to them getting out of the car. So it was obviously a computer generated panning down. Then it just cuts
mm,
to real life. Just found that a little bit out of place. I wasn't a fan of that.
right. I think I feel like I need to watch the movie again because I absolutely did
I
not pick on that.
I'm just like I said, I made lots of notes this time. I'm like, right, I'm gonna have real topics of conversation this time. Anything that you'd like to add or share to that?
Not necessarily to that, but something I want to talk about is the acting. What did you think of the acting? And was there a particular performance or performances that you thought stood out?
Yes, I'm gonna. Well, we've got five characters, five actors. We've got Matt Damon. I thought he was okay. I thought he was good. I like Matt Damon. I don't
Hmm.
mind him in the role. I'm gonna say this. This might be a bit of a controversial opinion. I just don't think Ben Affleck can do drama very well. I think he struggles with drama.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
thoughts?
Look, both Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I mean, Ben Affleck is not as much as Matt Damon in the movie. I think his character is not interesting. He's this CEO that is interested in meditation and running and mantras and
Yeah,
obviously started the company and now is a bit of a small fish in a big pond. It
Yeah.
doesn't really know what to do and who to trust and how to move the company forward. It works out for him in the end, but it feels more like that was gut feel and that was luck, and
Yeah.
we trusted the right people rather than it was really strategic and you really made it work. So the character was not that interesting. I think he did
Yep.
it okay. Did he wow me as an actor? No, he has never really wowed me as an actor. To be honest, I think he's a better director and
Yeah.
screenwriter than an actor. Matt Damon was all right. He played it all right. Again, I did not really connect with his character. I was not rooting for him that much. There is one character that I really loved and that I connected with. It was Viola Davis.
Okay. I've got something to say about that. Does she
Go for
always
it.
play does she always play angry? She seems to play angry a lot in the couple of films I've seen, or is it just
Right. I don't think she was angry. She's more of
more
this
assertive?
sweet but strong. Yeah, assertive is a
Yep.
good
Yep.
word. I I mean there is like a few scenes. This is something when I watch movies. How much am I gonna remember it a week from now, month from now, years from now? What is gonna stick with me? And I can tell you two or three scenes that will stick with me with this movie, and she's in two of them. It is especially, I think, the strongest one is when she and Matt Damon are sitting outside of her house and they are talking for the first
Yep.
time, face to
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful scene, so well acted and emotional, but not laying it on too thick as well.
And then obviously her phone call with him later down in the
Yes,
movie
that
when
was the
she's
second
wanting,
one.
yeah, when she wants the revenue for each shoe sold. Yeah. Um, what's his name? Jason Bateman. I think he's always okay. He does a good job he does
I like
drama
him. I like
well.
his voice. He's just
Yep.
like, I think when you first hear him, he's not in the shot, but you're like, yeah, Jason Bateman, that's him. That's the voice. No, really
Yep.
like him.
Yep.
And I
And
think he did well with what he has been given to work
yeah,
with as well.
he does well as a secondary character actor.
Yeah.
And he does well in drama as well. I think you just whatever you have to kind of give to him, he does really well. Like even in Carry On, he played
Yeah.
that menacing. He played
He's
menacing.
so good.
He played that quite convincingly, so he did
He
real well.
does. And they really play to his strength. As I was saying, his voice is one of his standout. Like
Yep,
when he acts, this is like very recognizable. The same as Zootopia when he's doing voice acting.
yep,
Very,
that's right.
very
Yep,
good. And in Carry On, you don't see him that much, like until later in the movie. They really
yeah,
play on using his voice and unique tone when you're like, this is Jason Bateman. And
yep,
yes, he does scary very well, actually.
yeah. And it was weird seeing Chris Tucker in a
Yeah.
dramatic role. I was like, well, I haven't seen Chris Tucker in a movie since about 2001. What's he doing here?
And it's a bit distracting, I have to say, because the only thing I can hear is Ruby Rod from The Fifth Element. Hey, hey!
Yep, definitely. Um, I I found another thing that a little bit of a nitpick for me was the makeup was a bit too heavy. Was that something that you picked up on? They like piled on the makeup on some of the female cast, and even I think in
And
one
Viola
scene,
Davis,
yeah,
yeah, I
definitely,
thought, I don't know if it was a choice or maybe it was accurate historically. I don't know. But yeah, I thought that it crossed my mind. It was like, okay, well, maybe that's her style, or
yeah.
they're trying to say something, but I don't really get what it can be. No, no.
One thing I really liked was that I didn't actually know about was the history of uh, Just Do It, and the history
Yeah,
of the Nike name. That was some pretty cool kind of little bits of history thrown in there. I knew about
yeah.
the Nike logo where they only paid the lady like $35 for the logo in 1971 or something like that. So
Yeah, it became iconic, but it's not nothing special. It's a tick
yeah,
box.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sorry, but
yeah.
okay.
Is there any other things you'd like to bring up?
Maybe let's talk about the soundtrack.
Yeah, very era appropriate.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was set in 1984. I found that they used quite a lot of the same songs that they did in this film that they did in Grosse Pointe Blank. One of my favorite
Mhm.
films is Grosse Pointe Blank. So obviously that was like his 10-year high school reunion. So it was like from 1985. Yeah, I I think there was at least three songs from that movie that was in this movie, and I quite enjoyed the soundtrack. So
Yeah, I did too. I think it added to this 80s era, but also they didn't necessarily pick the most obvious songs. I mean, sometimes True Color, for example, it's very 80s as a song, but some of the others, they were a bit
yeah,
less
yeah,
obvious choices,
uh,
and
yeah,
I liked it.
Blister in the Sun, obviously. There we go. I love that song. I can't. And I like the pop culture credits at the beginning as well. How they did the credit sequence throughout the beginning of the movie, where it was all these different snippets of pop culture throughout from the 80s. I really like that as well. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
All right.
cool.
I reckon we might be getting to our score time.
Let's do that.
All right. What's your score out of five?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. It's good. I'm glad I saw it. It didn't wow me. I think some of the characters could have been a bit better written to be for it to be easier for me to connect with them emotionally. I think this is a bit of a downfall of a lot of biopic or biography movies is they really want to stick to the facts and it's a whole genre of movie, but I can think of some others where I was really excited, even if it was a biography, such as Catch Me If You Can, or Zodiac, or The Wolf of Wall Street. Those are very good biography. This one is a little bit middle of the road, sometimes a little boring. A few scenes that I would remember, some acting that I really liked. I like the to know more about this story, and it paid off at the end for me when you had the Born in the USA song, and then the almost end credits that is saying, well, this is what happened. This is how much Michael Jordan is making every year. This guy fought for the right of young athlete to earn when their image is being used in sport advertising, etc., etc. I think that was a good payoff with the good
Yeah.
music where I was like, okay, I'm feeling something. I feel that it was important, but it's only towards the end. So 3.5.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I'll go 3.5 as well. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Born in the USA kind of montage at the end where it showed, yeah, all the things like he's making $250 million a year just in passive income. That's just insane kind of money that and then Nike's bought Converse when they were rivals in the 80s, and then
Yeah,
they
and
actually bought Converse in 2005
yeah,
or something like that.
and when you see the picture of the real people, it's a
Yep.
lot more exciting than the actors that they chose for the
Yeah.
movie somehow. It's funny, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, also 3.5 out of 5 for me as well.
Cool. Well, that concludes our podcast.
All
Please
right.
subscribe and follow, and we'll see you next time.
Will do. Have a good one, everyone.